I am Mary Nettleman. I am the Vice President for Health Affairs and the Dean of the USD Sanford School of Medicine. And on behalf of the medical school, its faculty, and its staff, I would like to welcome our students and the family and friends that are viewing us online and joining us via live stream. Welcome to the Class of 2024 White Coat Ceremony. This is a ceremony that is held at medical schools across the country in honor of the responsibility that you're accepting in recognition of the expectations that society places on physicians. Thank you for joining us. This is my 9th White Coat Ceremony as Dean. This is by far the most unusual. I am standing here appropriately socially distanced from an audience of socially distanced medical students. And although family and friends are not able to join us for this ceremony, it really shouldn't diminish the magnitude or the meaning of the ceremony. Today's ceremony will consist of the following events: a presentation by Dr. Jerome Freeman, The White Coat, Now is Our Time, followed by the Dean's Address by Dr. Tim Ridgway, our incoming Dean and Vice President for Health Affairs. Next will be the presentation of the White Coats, led by Dr. Dawn Bragg, who will be assisted by our campus deans. And finally, the ceremony will conclude with the affirmation of the physician, which is printed in the program. And at that time, we ask all physicians in the audience or attending via live stream to stand and join the students in the recitation. So, to get us started, I'd like to introduce Dr. Jerome Freeman, who is Professor and Chair of the Department of Neurosciences and the John C. Saul, MD, Professor in Medicine, and he will now say a few words regarding the White Coat. Dr. Freeman.
Well, welcome to all of you. I have to share Dr. Nettleman's observation that this seems very strange to all of us, to see us all distanced and wearing masks, but it's something that we're going to have to cope with in medicine. And the title of my remarks today, Now is Our Time, is very deliberate. Obviously, this ceremony is for you, but I put our time because the significant events, your future practice is going to depend on a whole group of people. Actually, some of your faculty you'll eventually practice with, I'm sure. This is a collaborative effort, and I think a really important one. I was thinking that just like Charles Dickens's book, Tale of Two Cities, this is the best of times, this is the worst of times. I mean, it really is in many ways for all of us. The medicine is a spectacular field. I think you're so fortunate, and I hope all of you agree to be going into medicine. I mean, to be admitted into people's lives, to be able to make a difference for so many people. And it is wonderful, and medicine is just so utterly exciting, I think. But obviously, this is a very troubled time for our society and the world, too. The pandemic has changed the way we all do things. The issues of race and racism that have been more and more discussed have great implications for us in medicine, and the health disparities in our country have significant influence and impact on how we practice and on the care we hope to give. Now, I'm not going to talk a lot about the White Coat Ceremony itself because Dr. Ridgway is going to, but I'll just say a couple things. It was started in 1993, so this ceremony has been taking place in really all medical schools for a long time. And Arnold Gold, who started the Gold Humanism Award and this White Coat Ceremony, articulated two important principles: that the white coat should symbolize our scientific and technical excellence, and it should symbolize what he called humanism. And I think those two attributes are very, very similar to what at our school we've labeled the Kindness Project. Under Dr. Nettleman's guidance, who came up with this plan to make kindness a part of our strategic plan, we emphasize two things, like Arnold Gold did: what we do, which is technical and scientific excellence, and how we do it, how we treat people, if we treat people with dignity and respect. And I guess I'd add to that, and this ceremony emphasizes that the collection of us together emphasizes how medicine is a collaborative group. We build on each other. We build on the physicians and scientists who have preceded us, and will rely on them as colleagues for the future. One thing I enjoy doing is walking from the hospital into the medical school here in Sioux Falls in what I call the Legacy Corridor. And it has each class of medical students, so you'll be there and pictured as a group and 4 years, but each class, all the prior deans. And I've gotten so I really enjoy walking along and looking, obviously, at people who I've practiced with or who were former students, but also looking at faces I don't know that preceded me, not sure what role they had. And I asked the question, how did these people demonstrate kindness? What impact did they have on people's lives? And I want to tell you just two people quickly from this Legacy Corridor. Just mention them because I think they're important. The first is Dr. Brian Hurley. And Dr. Hurley is retired, but he was a superb physician. He graduated from the 2-year class in 1971. He went on to train at Mayo Clinic. He was very much an academician, an excellent physician, but I was thinking of him a couple weeks ago because an old friend of mine, he's old, 85 or 86, was talking about Dr. Hurley, and he was so proud. He said, "Dr. Hurley was my doctor, and he was so kind to me." And I thought that fit in so well with what I wanted to say today. The second quick example, I've enjoyed telling students for a number of years, and in fact, there's a little chapter of this in that Bringing Kindness to Medicine book, but about Patty Mahoney. And Patty Mahoney graduated in 1993. And she became a general surgeon, but when she was in medical school, she really liked neurology. And so she spent several weeks as a 4th-year student with me. And we had a real sick patient with Guillain-Barré. He was in the ICU for a couple of days, and then on the regular floor, and then on the rehab unit. And after a couple of weeks, we went to say goodbye to him on the rehab unit. And he was so grateful, and he shook my hand, and he said how much he appreciated what I did. And then he turned to Patty Mahoney, the medical student, and said, "But Miss Mahoney, you saved my life." And I think she was stunned, I was stunned, but it turned out that she had been going by 2 or 3 times a day just to talk to him and to kind of console him for his losses and to help him cope with the illness he had. It was an extraordinary validation, I think, of how influential and important you can be as students. You don't want to just defer being a clinician to after you graduate. You will impact patients' lives, and certainly Patty Mahoney did. So, in summary, I think our Kindness Project very well articulates the objectives that Arnold Gold visualized with this white coat ceremony. The best physicians I know, and I know a lot of them, the best physicians are truly kind. They're kind to their patients and they're kind to their colleagues. And I'd urge you to think about that as you put your coats on and to view yourself from this week on as colleagues, working together to help all of the people we come in contact with. You're entering a great profession. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dr. Freeman. I would now like to invite Dr. Tim Ridgway to come forward for his Dean's Address. I will retire at the end of August, as you all know, and Dr. Ridgway will become the Dean of the USD Sanford School of Medicine. He will be your Dean, and he is just an excellent choice. He's an outstanding individual, and I have no doubt that the school will thrive and grow under his leadership, and so it's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Ridgway.
Class of 2024, parents, relatives, friends, welcome. In a short while, we're going to be putting a white coat on each of you. But what does this ceremony really mean? The first white coat ceremony took place in 1993 at Columbia University. As Dr. Freeman said, Dr. Arnold Gold was a professor of clinical neurology and professor of clinical pediatrics. He noted that the existing practice of having students recite the affirmation of the physician at the end of their medical training occurred 4 years too late. So the Gold Foundation instituted the white coat ceremony as a way to emphasize humanism in medicine at the very start of medical education. In just a few years, this ceremony was adopted by nearly every medical college in the country. The white coat ceremony serves to welcome students to healthcare practice and elevate the value of humanism at the core of healthcare. This iconic ritual provides an important emphasis on compassionate, collaborative, scientifically excellent care. Let's break those 3 key words down because I think they're very, very important. Scientific. On Monday, you're all going to enter Pillar 1, and you're going to begin to learn the foundations of what you will utilize until you retire as a physician. You're going to learn physiology, anatomy, pathophysiology, disease states, immunology, how cells interact. You're going to get all these critical foundational tools that you are going to need and utilize, and trust me, you will utilize them. But in addition to that, from day 1, you are also going to get clinical experiences. You're going to learn how to integrate what you're learning in the classroom with patient care. You're going to learn to communicate, but more importantly, you're going to learn to listen to patients. And you're going to learn how to incorporate this into the excellent care that you're going to provide. Then you're going to move on to Pillar 2. That's where you hit the clinics and the hospitals in our wonderful campuses throughout the state of South Dakota. You are going to learn diagnosis and treatment, but you're going to learn a lot more. I always tell students that came to my campus in Sioux Falls, the fun part for me was to watch how you grow professionally, how you learn to interact with colleagues, with attending physicians, and yes, with patients. Intertwined through all these pillars is scholarship, new discovery, different ways to do things, and disseminating that knowledge so that future generations can utilize it. These are the principles that are going to make you excellent scientific physicians. But there's more. Collaborative. I want you to look around, look to your side, look to your back, look at who's in front of you. These are your colleagues. They are not your competitors. One of the real strengths, I believe, of our School of Medicine is that we have an extremely collegial culture amongst each other. Every year I will sit down and speak with students, some who had been accepted to other medical schools. And I always ask them, what made you choose USD? And the common answer that I will get most often is, we love the collegial atmosphere. It's not competitive here. These are people you may work with later on. You need to learn now that it's teamwork. It's not the physician barking orders and everybody follows. It's working with your teams. Everybody brings expertise, and that is what's going to allow you to be excellent caregivers. Finally, compassionate. Now you could say to me, Dr. Ridgway, how can you teach compassion, right? Well, there was a book written in 2015 that I find does a nice job of trying to encapsulate that. It was a book written by David Brooks, and it was called The Road to Character. And his initial chapter was just amazing. He talks about virtues and two different types of virtues: resume virtues and eulogy virtues. The resume virtues were ones you list on your resume, skills you bring to the job market. It contributes to your external success. The education system that we all came through is oriented around these resume virtues. I would pose to you that everybody in this room is here in a great way because of resume virtues. But what about eulogy virtues? They're what's talked about at your funeral. They're deeper. They're inner. They're ones that exist at the core of your being. Whether you are kind, brave, honest, or faithful. What kind of relationships did you form? Now, if I asked everybody in this room what was more important, I have a feeling the majority of you would say, well, Dr. Ridgway, it's the eulogy virtues, of course. But yet, society tends to emphasize the former. Brooks goes on and he talks about two warring sides of our nature. We're going to call them the resume side and the eulogy side. The resume side is career-oriented, ambitious, wants to build, create, produce, discover. Wants to have high status and win victories. The eulogy side wants to embody certain moral qualities. A quiet but solid sense of right and wrong. Wants not only to do good, but to be good. Wants to sacrifice self in the service of others. So while our resume side wants to conquer the world, our eulogy side wants to serve the world. Resume's motto is success. Eulogy's motto is charity, love, and redemption. Resume asks how things work. Eulogy asks why things exist. Resume cultivates our strengths. Eulogy makes us confront our weaknesses. It can be argued our culture tends to nourish the resume side of things and perhaps tends to neglect the eulogy side of things. So our present day society and culture encourages us to have a great career, but maybe it leaves us a little bit inarticulate on how to cultivate that inner life. It teaches us to promote and advertise ourselves, but gives little encouragement to humility, sympathy, self-confrontation, which are necessary for building character. We are busy, but we have a vague anxiety that maybe our life has not achieved its ultimate meaning and significance. So the question is this relentless beating of the drum of the resume side of us leading to the apathy in high school students, stress and anxiety of university students, and maybe the burnout of promising healthcare providers and physicians? The question is, are we sacrificing the experiences and reflections that make us who we are? Brooks' final paragraph, I think, said it best, and I'm going to quote him. People do get better at living, at least if they are willing to humble themselves and learn. Over time, they stumble less, and eventually they achieve moments of catharsis when outer ambition comes into balance with inner aspiration. When there is a unity of effort between resume and eulogy, when there is that ultimate tranquility and that feeling of flow, when moral nature and external skills are united in one defining effort. I am here today to tell you that this School of Medicine wants to cultivate and nurture your eulogy virtues, your inner character, compassion, empathy, and kindness. So when Gold emphasized compassionate, collaborative, scientifically excellent care, that is what our goal is for each of you. There was a quote recently by a London economist that I found quite striking. This economist, get you, said, quotes, "In the past, jobs were about muscles. Now they're about brains. But in the future, they'll be about the heart." Now think about the correlation to medicine. In the past, some of us trained, and you may hear this from faculty, well, I put in 120-hour work weeks, and I strained and I struggled and I did all this. Now they're about brains. There is an explosion of medical information out there at our fingertips. But what the public needs and what the public demands, they need people to make sense of all this. That's where you come in. You need to discern this information. You need to communicate with people and make sense of it. Maya Angelou had a wonderful quote. You've probably heard it, but I think it just speaks to why we're here today in this event. She said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel." It's so appropriate in medical school and in healthcare in general. I want to emphasize, all of you, individually, every one of you have earned your way here today through perseverance and through hard work. You each have your own story that led you down this path. You will each have your own significant contribution to the School of Medicine, to the medical profession, and to society. Every one of you are welcome here. So in conclusion, I ask that you bring your energy, your creativity, compassion, and strong work ethic with you every day. Your faculty and your administration will bring expertise, guidance, mentorship, and a proper learning environment, which combined with all of your attributes is guaranteed to lead to success. In a short while, we are going to recite the affirmation of the physician together. In 4 short years, my strong desire is that we are all together again, putting you and conferring upon you the MD degree, and once again, we will be reciting the affirmation of the physician. I truly look forward to that day. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ridgway, for those inspiring words. We will now have the presentation of the White Coats, led by Dr. Dawn Bragg, who is the Dean of Medical Student Affairs. She will be assisted by the campus deans, Dr. Susan Anderson, Dr. Tim Ridgway, and Dr. Matthew Simmons. Dr. Bragg.
Class of 2024. Please come forward to be quoted as I introduce you. Lucas Anderson, a graduate of Lincoln High School and the University of South Dakota. Brittany Bamberg, a graduate of Corsica High School and the University of South Dakota. Christopher Behrend, a graduate of Lincoln High School and the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. Sarah Blackstone, a graduate of Lewis Palmer High School and the University of South Florida. Thomas Blankespor, a graduate of Sioux Falls Christian School and Bethel University. Tate Buckholt, a graduate of West Central High School and South Dakota State University. Sydney Borman, a graduate of Parkston High School and South Dakota State University. Ethan Brown, a graduate of Brandon Valley High School and Iowa State University. Jemina Buchanan, a graduate of Stevens High School and Lewis and Clark College. Alaire Bicey, a graduate of Minneota Secondary and South Dakota State University. Shori Dirks, a graduate of Harrisburg High School, University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. Anthony Drazik, a graduate of Kelly Walsh High School and the University of South Dakota. Benjamin Eastman, a graduate of Bishop Heelan Catholic High School and Creighton University. Allison Eaton, a graduate of St. Thomas More High School and the University of South Dakota. Cole Edwards, a graduate of O'Gorman High School and the University of Notre Dame. Noah Fegan, a graduate of St. Mary Catholic High School and the University of South Dakota. Chase Fromm, a graduate of Rapid City Stevens High School and Westminster College. Josie Gallus, a graduate of Galen Catholic High School and the University of South Dakota. Stephen Gates, a graduate of Stevens High School and South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. Morgan Gross Didier, a graduate of Douglas High School and the University of Wyoming. Jonathan Gubrud, a graduate of Central Senior High and Augustana University. Kyler Hardy, a graduate of Marion Central Catholic High School and Ave Maria University. Brianne Haskell, a graduate of Lyons Decatur Northeast High School and Augustana University. Allison Hemmer, a graduate of Coleman Egan High School and South Dakota State University. Lane Hone, a graduate of T.F. Riggs High School and Augustana University. Troy Hollinsworth, a graduate of Central High School and Augustana University. Andrew Holmes, a graduate of Brandon Valley High School and the University of South Dakota. Autumn Hurd, a graduate of Bridgewater Emory High School and Doane University. Bridger Irons, a graduate of Washington High School and the University of South Dakota. Eric Jeton, a graduate of Lincoln High School and University of Minnesota Twin Cities. David Jensen, a graduate of Mobridge High School and University of Nebraska, Lincoln. Logan Johnke, a graduate of Brandon Valley High School and South Dakota State University. Marley Jones, a graduate of Groton Area High School and the University of South Dakota. Carolyn Kennedy, a graduate of Worland High School and South Dakota State University. Christopher Keyser, a graduate of Washington High School and the University of Sioux Falls. Kirsten Kim, a graduate of Creston High School and Indiana University of Pennsylvania, main campus. Kennedy Kirsch, a graduate of St. Thomas More High School and South Dakota State University. Anthony Lanassa, a graduate of Ontario High School and Augustana University. Ross Lanier, a graduate of Harrisburg High School and the University of Iowa. Autumn Larson, a graduate of Douglas High School and Drake University. Jennifer Lindgren, a graduate of Roosevelt High School and the Ohio State University main campus. Madison McClory, a graduate of T.F. Riggs High School and South Dakota State University. Lucas Merrill, a graduate of Dakota Wesleyan University. Conrad Morimer, a graduate of Lyman High School and the University of South Dakota. Kaylin Morris, a graduate of Roosevelt High School and South Dakota State University. Hera Mubashir, graduate of Brookings High School and South Dakota State University. Kaylin Much, graduate of Harrisburg High School and the University of South Dakota. Anna Mirmo, graduate of Central High School and Augustana University. Gina Nauman, graduate of Dakota Valley High School and at Cornell University. Catherine Nielsen, a graduate of T.F. Riggs High School and Black Hills State University. Stanislaw Nikolaev, graduate of Central High School and the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. Hunter O'Connor, a graduate of Washington High School and South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. Brenda Orozco, a graduate of Worthington Senior High School and Augustana University. Matthew Polman, a graduate of Harrisburg High School and Augustana University. Christy Pond, graduate of Ipswich High School and the South Dakota State University. Garrett Quinn, graduate of Stevens High School and the South Dakota State University. Joseph Rath, a graduate of Kenton High School and Black Hills State University. Tanner Redlin, a graduate of Watertown High School and the University of South Dakota. Amanda Rickey, a graduate of Madison High School and South Dakota State University. Casey Reisinger, graduate of Heritage Christian Academy and Texas A&M University. Christopher Rumrill, graduate of T.F. Riggs High School and South Dakota State University. Eric Roop, graduate of T.F. Riggs High School and the University of South Dakota. Lillian Schulte, graduate of New Prague Senior High and the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. Carter Schultz, graduate of O'Gorman High School and University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. Kyle Seamers, graduate of Roosevelt High School and Pacific Lutheran University. Megan Sievers, graduate of Dual High School and Iowa State University. Hannah Treeweiler, graduate of Hinton High School and the University of South Dakota. Mitchell Van Kalsbeek, a graduate of Sioux Falls Christian High School and Northwestern College in Orange City, Iowa. Lauren Walker, graduate of Dakota Valley High School and University of Nebraska, Lincoln. Congratulations, class of 2024, and welcome to the Sanford School of Medicine.
Congratulations. Dr. Tim Ridgway will now lead the affirmation of the physician. All physicians, including those joining us via live stream, are encouraged to stand and join in the recitation with the students, who will also stand now.
I would ask also that think very carefully about these words and carry them throughout your years of education. Please recite with me. Now, being admitted to the high calling of the physician, I solemnly pledge to consecrate my life to the care of the sick, the promotion of health, and the service of humanity. In the spirit of those who have inspired and taught me, I will seek constantly to grow in knowledge, understanding, and skill, and will work with my colleagues to promote all that is worthy in the ancient and honorable profession of medicine. My professionalism and intellectual curiosity will be laced with compassion for the individual in an impersonal world. The health and dignity of my patient will ever be my first concern. I will hold in confidence all that my patient relates to me. I will not permit considerations of race, religion, nationality, or social standing to come between me and my duty to anyone in need of my services. Compensation for my services will be fair and tempered by individual needs. This pledge I make freely and upon my honor. Congratulations again.
This concludes the 2020 White Coat Ceremony. We welcome our students to the USD Sanford School of Medicine and to the profession of medicine. Although this is my last White Coat Ceremony as Dean, I really look forward to seeing all of you develop as kind, compassionate, and skillful physicians. Thank you all in the audience for joining us. Thank you all very much.